where, for Michigan State, the
18,005
bar for
mound.
so long has been,
Got it.
hey, they continue to get better, they get to the tournament, and they make a run. Michigan, over the last couple of years, especially with John Beilein, the bar had been raised. Right now, the bar is, do they get in?
So, I mean, that's not good enough for either program.
No,
that's what I was going to say.
Where we are right now, that's what we got to look for.
Right, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, the expectation, Michigan State needs to make deep tournament runs. Tom Izzo, that's your coach, that's your standard. For Michigan, Jawan, you just won the Big Ten a year ago. You got to go on a run.
Preseason number
4. So, both programs, this is a disappointing season if they get bounced early. But here you are, fighting for your tournament life. They're in similar spots right now, for just being honest. And for everybody who wants to turn it into my side versus your side, they're more alike than they're different. They really are.
Right, and we're not saying, did Michigan light it up? No. Behind the line, they were 31%. Just under 32%.
And outside of Houston, I think one dude made a three.
Right.
Was there only one other guy?
Eli Brooks. Actually, they had three guys, Kobe Buffkin.
Yeah, he hit one of his threes off the bench. The only guy to hit more than 1 3 was Caleb Houston.
Right. 5 of 9.
Yeah.
And so, you look at that, okay, yeah, he played well. He shot well. It was a great performance by him. Leading scorer, season high for him. So you could talk about him as having a good game. Everybody else did what they had to do to beat Rutgers. And that's what it is. And because coming off of Sunday, you could say, well, this team had, one of two directions to go. That was either up, and by up means simply getting a win against Rutgers, getting that one under their belt, because you couldn't lose all 5. They got 1. And the other direction was they implode because of all of the conversation going on, all of the controversy going on. Their head coach wasn't there. One of their starters was out.
Yep.
They could have just said, you know what? Hey, our expectations, our level of frustration, we're just going to throw our hands up and say, hey, we'll try again next year. They didn't do that. That's all we're saying. We're not saying that this is a monumental moment for the program.
I don't think they're going 5-0 in this stretch. I don't think they're going on some deep tournament run. I think this next game's a big test because Michigan has done this toggle big win with disappointing follow-up game. They beat Purdue, they storm the court, they get Ohio State in their building, and they get walloped. Okay, they lick their wounds, they go to Iowa and beat a good Iowa team. Okay, what are you going to do with it? Well, you go into the Kohl Center and play Wisconsin and melt down late in the game, and it ends up causing suspensions and turmoil. Okay, you rally and you beat Rutgers. Well, now you got to go beat Illinois. The up, the down, the up, the down. Now you've got to go and sustain a real run to instill some kind of confidence. It's going to be a challenge for Phil Martelli. One last thing I want to mention from last night, not having to do with Michigan basketball. I'm done with Danny DeKeyser. Can we be done with Danny DeKeyser? He is a traffic cone. The Wings lost last night. Not a surprise. It's Colorado. But I'm so sick of watching Danny DeKeyser play professional hockey. And I use play very loosely. Greg, you know what I'm talking about? First 2 goals of the game, he's just standing there, watching the forecheck, watching Colorado get an open shot on poor Thomas Greiss.
Sounds like the new Jonathan Erickson.
The baton has been passed in the worst way possible. So I'm done. I know I have no actual power to cut Danny DeKeyser, but if we never see him play hockey again, poor Mo Sider for having to share a partnership with him for stretches this season. Oh, and by the way, Mo Sider, cool highlight play. For those that missed it last night, he gets on the rush, and I think Mickey Redmond called this out on the broadcast. Bank shot off the goalie to set up Zadina. It was a very savvy move for a guy who's not even old enough to legally buy a beer. Yeah. So that concludes the hockey portion
of our program.
We don't have much more hockey talk, but that was on opposite the Michigan game last night as well. The way you watch football, you think about sitting down and you're watching with Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, right? You're sitting and you're watching with Nance and Roma, Aikman and Buck. Well, that last pair, that's in question. Aikman on the move, big-time domino in the broadcasting world and how we sit down and watch football. We'll get into that next. It's 97.1.
Here with the Bet River Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, Detroit's
Hometown Sportsbook. Futures Market Pro Basketball Coach of the Year. Phoenix's head coach is the big favorite at minus 200. Memphis' coach up next at plus 300. Cleveland's coach at plus 500. Chicago and Miami's coaches both at 10-1. Now, Phoenix going to be without its starting point guard for the remainder of the regular season, most likely here. And if you think that Phoenix could struggle a little bit down the stretch, that's going to open up opportunity for someone else to potentially win Coach of the Year. Maybe that's Memphis' coach. Maybe it's Cleveland's coach. Cleveland has a pretty easy schedule coming down the stretch. So if you're looking for a value bet on Coach of the Year, Cleveland's coach looks good at 5-1. That's it for this Bet River Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, Detroit's hometown sportsbook. Check out the latest lines today at BetRivers.com. I'm Nick Costos. Keep it locked here for more throughout the day. Must be 21, playable in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117.
If you're looking for a certified pre-owned vehicle, look no further. Hi friends, Bill Dowling here for Dowling Buick GMC in Lake Orion. Each CPOB is given a 170-point inspection. If it doesn't pass muster, we won't sell it. And everyone is also backed by 2 GM limited warranties, one of which covers the powertrain for 6 years, 100,000 miles with zero deductible. Plus, they also come with roadside assistance, alternate transportation, 2 scheduled maintenance, and more. We have a good selection to choose from. That's Dowling Buick GMC in Lake Orion. Learn more online at GowlingBG.com.
Hey everybody, it's Boomer Esiason here. When a part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them, by the way. And that way you can get the parts that you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Got a 40 of 10 coming in. We need to flip those 2 tables.
Leah's restaurant is fully booked night after night.
Section 3 is still behind.
She no longer has reservations about finally finding a hostess.
Why doesn't 23 have menus? Oh, because they're in my hand.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Bet instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. Whether you're purchasing or refinancing, you need to call the mortgage company with nearly 5,000 five-star reviews. Let Hall Financial cover the cost of your appraisal. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience and make every moment mean more by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple to use. They got great odds on all different betting markets. Unique fun bet types like same-game parlays and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events that let you get more out of the action every day. Right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place any bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 if your first bet doesn't win. Seriously, there's no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. Be sure to sign up with the promo code Doug so they know that we sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Michigan. First online real money wager only. Refund issues non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 97.1 The Ticket.
This hour is the feedback brought to you by Michael Pearl National Benefit Plans. Call 877-734-2200.
Necessary Roughness with former NFL lineman TJ Lang and John Jansen. Download it today on the Odyssey app. Live from the Jamie Samuelson studio, here's Stoney and Jansen.
Troy Aikman's wallet. You see this news late last night? Whoa. Talk about a major shakeup in how we watch football. Aikman and Buck on Fox. Sounds like no more. Set to sign with ESPN Monday Night Football.
Oh, he's going to Monday Night Football. That's been a coveted booth. It's been one with a lot of turnover.
I don't think they found the right mix either.
No, I don't know that you're ever going to find the right mix, or you're not going to be able to match what it was, in the early 90s, 80s with Deardorff and Michaels and those guys. But Troy Aikman moving to Monday Night Football would be a huge shakeup because, first of all, a huge shakeup here because you've got Louis Riddick You got Brian Greasy. Well, obviously, there's a lot of local interest in Brian. Personal interest for me as well.
I assume he would go back to doing more college games now.
I would assume so. Maybe get shifted to Sundays. I don't know if we would see him on Sunday or not in the NFL. But no more Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Or
do they go for both?
Is there a major takeover, a coup, so to speak, in the broadcasting world? And what would it take for Joe Buck to jump from Fox?
So that was reported too. And again, this came out yesterday, late last night. Buck has 1 year left with Fox. And, of course, there could be some talks and some arrangements made, but he'd have to give up the World Series.
That's the big thing.
And I like Troy Aikman. If I'm Joe Buck, I have a working relationship with Troy. I'm sure they're very, very cordial and friendly, and maybe they even are closer than that. Maybe their families hang out. I would say, I love you, Troy. I'm not giving up the World Series. I get to call 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls at Fox. I get to call the World Series at Fox. The next time ESPN's going to call a Super Bowl, I think it's 5 years from now. Call me in 5 years. I'll come back then. If I'm Joe Buck, I stay at Fox. I do. Maybe Troy Aikman and money is enough of a draw, because that's the other part of this. Maybe money pulls the duo together over to ESPN, but now you're Fox and you have 2 openings, 2 holes to fill if that happens.
Well, it'll be interesting to weigh, and I'm curious your take on this, because money, obviously, it's what makes the world go round. How much would they have to pay Joe Buck to give up those things? To give up calling World Series? How important is that for Joe Buck to be on those broadcasts? No one can answer that but Joe Buck. How important would it be for him to be passing up on calling the next 3 Super Bowls? And then also a part of that equation is, who do they put with Joe Buck? Because that's got to be part of it. Hey, Joe Buck has created this certain, persona and relationship with Troy Aikman. When you hear Buck, you hear Aikman. When you hear Aikman, you hear Buck. That's just the way it's been for, a decade?
But it's not the only shakeup, because you industry people talking about the expectation. Al Michaels done with NBC.
Going to Amazon.
Going to Amazon, which I get from Amazon's standpoint. Who
I
says
get from Al
big
Michaels, too.
We're doing the Thursday games,
Yeah.
having your weekends. Amazon gets to say, we're legit. This is a big game. Al Michaels is calling the game. And I'm sure Amazon's going to pay quite a bit of money to do it, too. So now NBC, the Sunday night product. I assume Tirico slides into that. That's a natural fill-in. Is Collinsworth going to Amazon? Is Breeze in the mix at all here? This is the stuff that these media reporters get into. I know, but I'm just telling you, they brought him in, presumably, with that in mind.
Well, yeah.
Breeze does games with Tirico right now for Notre Dame.
And I do think he's done a better job, and I like Drew Brees. I like him probably more as an analyst behind a desk in pregame, halftime, postgame. I don't particularly think, and now there is an adjustment. Like, it was his first year doing that. What does he do in the offseason? Just like an athlete, how do you improve and master your craft? There's a lot of improvements I think he could make. But I'm curious as to whether Joe Buck would value money over World Series and Super Bowls.
It's 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls Fox will broadcast, in addition to the World Series. I don't know if I'm going to do Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Baseball if I'm Joe Buck, but money talks. Aikman reportedly is going to get more than Tony Romo on an annual basis, so we're talking 17 and a half is Romo, so you're figuring 18, 19, could it even be up to $20 million?
I think it'll probably be in the $20 million range a year for calling
game a week.
17 games. They do one for the last week. I think there's only 17 Monday Night Football games. Or that crew did.
Yeah, but they do the
There's
playoff game. So it gets to about 17 plus the preseason games.
Yeah, but wild card playoff game is when you're
But this is the big push for ESPN to make Monday Night Football what it once was. That's what they're signifying is ESPN wants to bring back the prestige of Monday Night Football, where not only because it's part of yes, they want to get it back because they want viewers, but they also want, it's a signal to the NFL. We want to have what you are thinking is the best game of the week. That needs to be the highlight. That needs to be, and I've talked to Dan about this before, that's what it was when he was in the booth. They would sit there and they would identify, okay, and it's hard to do sometimes in the preseason because you can't necessarily predict if a team's going to fall off a cliff on any given year, but that was always the premier game of the week. And I'll ask you, Jim, right now, do you see that as the premier game of the week, or is it the Sunday night game?
No, the Sunday night to me has been the game of the week, not just because it's everything. It always felt like the biggest game matchup-wise was Sunday night. Al Michaels is calling it. It felt like the biggest game every single week. Not necessarily the best game after the fact, but the build-up. You want it to be on Sunday night. I don't feel like teams feel it's the same kind of thing to be on Monday night as it is to be on Sunday night.
So I'll ask this because a lot of it will be in terms of, like, the prestige of the game.
Yeah.
So you've got Al Michaels presumably on Thursday nights.
Yeah. Presumably he will go to Amazon with an unnamed partner.
Right. Mike Tirico on Sunday night.
Yep, and Tirico does a great job.
Great voices, great delivery, put together great broadcasts. Now you've got Aikman going to Monday night because the NFL or the ESPN absolutely wants to make that a premier game again, a premier broadcast. Who do you put with Aikman? That's going to be the big question.
I don't think he's going to be the guy. You're going to pay $20 million a year for Troy Aikman. I think you're going to try to get a bigger play-by-play name. That's why the Buck stuff has been resurfacing. Greg, do you have a name?
Well, that's the big question is who do you got at ESPN? Because, look, you got Sean McDonough, but you tried him.
I don't want Testator.
No.
You tried Tess.
So, I mean, that's the big question is, and so that's why I'm wondering, is there going to be a major takeover in the broadcast booth? Because they're going to have to go out
at the next light, turn left.
And pay somebody to come to ESPN to pair up with Troy Aikman. You're not going to spend $20 million on Troy Aikman a year and then put him with just a guy.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, I don't know if ESPN has someone already, a Sports Reference, on the roster that can fill that spot.
Right.
You're going to have to go outside a free agent.
Right.
Who's out there?
Completely drawn a blank on who
At the
that
light,
would currently
turn left
be
onto
on
West 14
the
Mile
ESPN
Road.
roster. I don't think they
Then
have
turn
that
right
guy.
onto Inkster Road.
So this is what's tough. NBC was a step ahead. You talk about a guy on the roster. They knew they had Al Michaels in his 70s. So they brought Tirico in and said, go do Notre Dame, do the studio, do some Olympics. This is your job. We're going to put you in place. The other
Can you imagine having a guy like Mike Tirico
on the bench
in the batter's box?
Oh my gosh. And for Fox, they have a deeper roster here if they were to lose a Joe Buck. But Ticket Texter brings up a rumor that I've seen too. Keep Buck, Sean Payton, who wants to get into TV. Maybe he takes over the Aikman role. Sean Payton, keep that name in mind.
At the stop sign, turn right onto Inkster Road.
He's out there. I just don't know. Again, I think there's a chance that some of these former players and coaches, like Drew Brees, are really good.
In 1.4 miles, turn right
the
onto
desk
Northwestern Highway.
And in pregame and at halftime and postgame, but there's a special skill and there's a learned skill of being able to do that in a major broadcast for a game for 3.5 hours.
Hey, John, just like parenting, a teen, a preteen, a toddler, newborn, different skill set.
So we bring this up because it sounds like all the booths are changing except CBS. CBS with Nancy Romo. Sounds like every other booth will be in flux. The domino effect. We'll get some thoughts on this. 248-539-9797 as the booth shakeups happened in the offseason of the NFL. We also want to get into people saying some nice things about the Lions. Draft grades from the last season. We'll tell you what they said. It's 97.1.
97.1, The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by Nika IVEWQ Local 58. Still pretty clear on the freeways this morning as drivers are near posted speeds. Traffic volumes are starting to pick up a little bit, and there's a minor slowdown 94 westbound near 14 Mile. Put the expertise and skill of Nika Signatory Contractors and IVEW electricians to work on your commercial, public, industrial, or residential construction project. Productivity and innovation matter. Learn more at poweringmichigansfuture.com. I'm Michelle Pena with traffic.
Get the latest sports news and inside information about Michigan and Michigan State on the 5 Star Zone with Rico Beard. Download it today on the Odyssey app.
I want to tell you about Planet Fitness, the home of the judgment-free zone. It's a great place, cleaner than ever, the first fitness brand to achieve the Well Health Safety rating. And that means that their place is clean. Now, Planet Fitness has a great deal. It's the Black Card membership. That's right, the Black Card membership. It's awesome. You get hydro massage, unlimited tanning, massage chairs, total body enhancement, and access for over 2,000 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. So you can join today in a club or online at www.planetfitness.com.
At the next light, turn right.
Now, Planet Fitness has more than 50 convenient locations in the Metro Detroit area. They have a new one in Taylor and Ecorse Road. You can check that out. Like I said, the Black Card has all the cool amenities that you want. Got the promotion going on right now, $0 down, $10 a month. Feel spectacular. With Planet Fitness, it's a judgment-free zone.
This Odyssey.com Sports Minute is brought to you by Lalonde Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
This Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. The 85-day-old baseball lockout is getting nastier and more costly. MLB declared this coming Monday as the deadline to salvage a full 162-game season, with each lost day incurring a prorated salary forfeit. Now, among the players involved in negotiations are Max Scherzer and Garrett Cole. Scherzer stands to lose $233,000 for every day lost. Cole, $194,000. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get up to a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With the power, performance, and reliability your vehicle demands, Superstart batteries are designed for lasting performance and consistent starts. Turn the key with confidence. Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You can unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash-out refinance today. In the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. And with Rocket Mortgage, you can unlock thousands in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up. So when you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Policy and licensed in 50 states and MLS. Consumer access. Federal Delivery Carry Quality Number 490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
As a small business owner, your
In 3
bottom line
miles,
is
take
always
exit
top of
17
mind.
on the
So
left to
start
merge
saving
onto
by switching to
I-696
Comcast
east toward
Business
Port
Mobile.
Huron.
It's a mobile service designed for small business that can save you money with unlimited data for just $24 per line per month for 10 lines. Perfect for any small business looking to grow. Or you can pay by the gig. And with access to millions of Wi-Fi hotspots, you'll pay only for the data you need. No line fees, activation costs, or term contracts. You can save up to $500 a year on your wireless bill, all on the most reliable 5G network. And it's only available to Comcast Business Internet customers. So boost your business's bottom line with a more reliable, more affordable mobile service by switching to Comcast Business Mobile today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most for veterans 5G data reliability assessment wins in 2H 2021. Wi-Fi network store tested. Results may vary. The board is not an endorsement.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate. Buddy's Pizza created
In 2 miles, take exit 17 on the left to merge onto I-696 east toward Port Huron.
8 square and get another 8 square pizza half off with promo code BOGO8. That's BOGO8. Order now at Buddy'sPizza.com.
In the 70s and 80s that conjures up memories of epic tailgate parties, mesmerizing light shows, fog machines, and lighters held.
Stay in the left 3 lanes.
Odyssey exclusive station. Get it on the Odyssey app today. This is Everybody with former NFL legend DJ Lang and John Jensen. Download it today on the Odyssey app.
score as Colorado beats Detroit by a combined 7 goals in their 2 games. Dylan Larkin assisting on both of these goals and says that they have to find a way to be competitive in front of great home crowds at LCA.
In 1.6 miles, take exit 59 toward M102 and 8 Mile Road.
Uniforms from the 90s next season will be their classic edition unis and an exact replica according to the publication. At the Ticket Update Desk from Chris Canal for more. Stay tuned to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Live from the Jamie Samuelson Studios, Tony and Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket.
Good morning. Thanks for giving up with us today. We have so much to get into. Jim Kostowitz and Jerry Jansen. John, Major League Baseball stalemate with a hard deadline. We'll get into that later in the hour after the 2 Grand Slam. Reminder, it's Thursday. Listen, 7:25. I think this week, one of the easier ones. I'm just going to say that. I think this week, better chances to win the 2 Grand Slam. It is. There's one step. There's always
Use the
one.
right lane to take exit 59 toward M102 and 8 Mile Road.
This could be your day, 7:25. Lions draft grades are out.
Lions draft grades are out, and it's interesting because on NFL.com, they came out, was it a couple of days ago?
Take the exit,
I just saw this
then
story
continue
last
onto
night.
South Chrysler Drive.
Well, regarding the NFC.
Continue onto South Chrysler Drive, then turn left onto East 8 Mile Road.
Worst, what's interesting about it is the Lions obviously go with 3 wins, 4 non-losses.
Or non-losses, yes.
Just got to throw that
Sure, John.
that extra one in there. But you also have, in this division, there's a shakeup, right? You've got a new coaching staff in Chicago, new coaching staff in Minnesota. What are they going to be doing? How are they going to be? Possibly an Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers.
Go past this light,
and
then at the next one, use the left
you
2
gotta
lanes to
believe
turn
that
left.
if the program that's in place here in Detroit is, after year 1 of the rebuild, are they going to be the regime that gives the Lions a chance? And I don't even want to say at a championship, but that is in place to fulfill the rebuild.
John, keep talking sweet nothings. Tell me about Aaron Rodgers leading the division. Just on loop. That would be beautiful. Absent of that, you still have to build a really good football team. And that's where the draft comes in. And they gave the Lions an A- for Brad Holmes' first year.
And let's just recap those grades and why they got to the A-. It is obviously Penei Sewell. We saw the celebration when he fell to the Lions at number 7. It was a clear
In a
no-brainer
quarter
for
mile,
them.
take a
The
slight right
hugs,
turn onto East 8 Mile
the
Road.
celebration. Penei Sewell, 16 games, 16 starts. Started off in preseason as a
Continue
guy that
straight.
we had a lot of questions about. Could he make that transition to right tackle? All of a sudden, Taylor goes down, and he's over at left tackle for the first handful of games.
Take a slight right turn onto East 8 Mile
Back to
Road.
right, he's able to gain some confidence, plays well, and
In 2.3
is
miles,
well
turn
received
right
by
onto Mountain Road.
most of the NFL as one of the best of the bunch in regards to the draft picks of last year. So they take him in the first round. Second round, Levi Onwuzurike played in 16 games, had 0 starts, and I don't think played up to the expectations that the Lions had for him. He performed as about what I would think he would perform. I thought he was drafted too high. The question I had at the time was, when we heard from Brad Holmes, they were happy that he fell to him too. They were talking about trading up to get him at the bottom of the first round.
Classic Lions second round pick.
So
Classic.
That's the only red flag I have in this draft is not just, you can take a player, Levi Onwuzurike, and maybe he develops in a couple of years to be a player that would justify being taken in the second round, but the mindset that we heard from Brad Holmes was, we tried to actually trade up for him. They were going to give up more draft capital to go up and get him. Red flag.
Sure. And I think that's why it's an A-, not an A, because the rest of this draft is actually pretty good.
Yeah, round number 3, Elaine McNeil and Melifonwu, right? We don't incomplete for Melifonwu because of an injury, Aleem McNeil, I think we all believe, played extremely well this year, had 6 starts, and is
the athletic 330-pound nose tackle you want to see more from. But ultimately, that first year as a third-round pick, I thought that was a good pickup. And then, just to skip ahead here, Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th, home run pick, great pick.
Yeah, and when people redrafted, we saw at the beginning of the offseason, people redrafted, and they put him at the end of the 1st round. So you find a talent like that in round 4. That's obviously, it covers up some of the blemish.
In 1 mile,
of the
turn right onto Mount Road.
And then you had Jamar Jefferson, who we saw, and in his backfield played extremely well. Now, is Jamar going to be around long term? No. He could be a guy that is used as draft day trade. Maybe there's a backfield that could use some depth. He's a guy that might be able to provide that, so you get a chance to have value in your 7th round pick. And then the undrafted guys. That's where I think Brad Holmes really excelled, because you get Jerry Jacobs, Tommy Kramer, McCollum, Parker, Patterson, Wright. You go down the list.
The kicker in there, good point.
And you get you get great participation. And so you're trying to build a depth in your roster that is devoid of talent, devoid of depth.
Why that's so critical to me? St. Brown is a day 3 pick. Those undrafted guys, unheralded guys. The Rams built their football team with late round picks, right? They didn't have a lot of early
Go
picks.
past this light.
For as much love
Then
as
at the next
Ramsey
one,
gets
turn
and
right.
Donald gets, they filled out that roster with guys like Cooper Kupp, who won the Super Bowl MVP, as a later pick. That's what Holmes was integral in doing in Los Angeles, was the college scouting, finding guys outside the obvious. And you saw signs of that in year 1, which is why I'm cool with the A-. I thought year 1 was a success for the Lions. And I know people go, Jim, they only won 3 games, 3.5 games. That was the plan all along. You had to endure year 1, start to lay the foundation. You have Sewell, you have an offensive line, you have St. Brown, you have a weapon. Build on it now in year number 2.
And they created a roster where they knew they weren't going to get a lot of wins, but they also created a roster that tested a lot of these players. All of these guys, other than Jamar, who got hurt, and Melifonwueno, who got hurt, played in 16, 17 games.
At the light,
The
turn right
undrafted
onto
free
Mount
agents,
Road.
Jerry Jacobs, played in 13 games, started 9 of them. Now, is he a long-term starter? Probably not, but he got great experience. Now we know what we have. You look at Ryan McCollum, A.J. Parker, both played in 13 games. A.J. Parker started 7, right? And those are undrafted
In
guys.
1.5 miles, the destination is on your
Just
right,
for
on
context,
8005
for the rest
Mount
of the
Road.
NFC North, Green Bay Packers got to beat the Chicago Bears, B-. Now, their headliner, obviously, Justin Fields. And then the Minnesota Vikings, C. Now, some of the grades are affected by injury. We'll find out long-term if this was a C draft for the Minnesota Vikings, or was it just a year where they had a bunch of guys get hurt, not necessarily, the opportunity to grade them was an incomplete, just like we talked about with Melifonwueno. I'm curious for those listening right now, 248-539-9797. Did you think, even though it was a 3-loss season, it was on the field...
3-win season.
3-win season. Yes, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. 3-win season. Was it a win for the first year of the rebuild? The first year under Brad Holmes? Do you have confidence that he can repeat his draft performance of last year and get
In 1
maybe not
mile,
the same
the destination is on your right,
productivity
on
out of
8005
undrafted
Mount
guys?
Road.
But rounds 1 through 4, those have to be contributors.
So, it's a great question. I'll answer it yes. I do feel confident. I do feel like the first year was a win for Brad Holmes. The expectation going into his first year was cupboard's bare. The roster's broken. You have an awful football team. And he said, fine. I'm not going to rush to fix everything right away. I'm not going to sign a bunch of veterans and patch up a bunch of holes. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to open up roster spots. I'm going to play young guys. I'm going to figure it out. And I do feel like his first round pick, he hit on. He had a late round pick that he hit on. I think that's the start. It's going to get harder for him because the standard's going to be higher moving forward. So, John, in addition to the question about is year one a successful draft, I want to know what defines a success for year number two. You have more picks. You have higher picks. What defines success in year number two? So you got John's question about was year one a success, and I want to try to get from people what they think means this upcoming draft will be a success. Got some lines for you, 248-539-9797. Get people's thoughts on where you're at this stage of the rebuild. 2 Grand Slam is coming up at 7:25. Chance to win $2,000. We'll get to that as well. It's 97.1.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by Allstate agent Cheryl Bowker. The freeways are pretty clear this morning as we're accident-free. Coming up today, some moving work crews will be in the right lane of 9040 eastbound between Wayne Road and Beach Daily. Also on M5 both directions between 8 and 13 Mile, another right lane closure coming up. Saving money feels pretty good, and your local Allstate agent Cheryl Bowker can help you do just that. Contact her agency in Livonia for a free quote today. Allstate, better protection, costs a whole lot less.
The destination is on your right. 18005 Mountain
Pivotal
Road.
games as they happen live. Get the latest on in-game prop bets, DFS, and more. Bet MGM tonight. Weeknights 7 till 11 on the Bet 1270 and the Odyssey app.
Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using the code STONY, and your first wager is risk-free, up to $1,000. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM rewards points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into comps for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts in Las Vegas and nationwide. Download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com and enter STONY as your code, STONEY, and place your first wager risk-free. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Michigan only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help. Excludes Michigan disassociated person.
I'm Dr. Schmidt. As an intensive care unit physician, I wrote the first COVID-19 death certificate at my health system. And since the beginning of the pandemic, I have never taken care of a patient dying from the vaccine. Nearly all the patients in the ICU are unvaccinated.